All right, hey guys. So we're going to continue on here with our FX series, and the emphasis being trading on right here within TradingView. So a couple of things we're going to go today. I'm going to show you. It occurred to me that I didn't go through how to add a script, so I want to be sure that you guys know how to do that. It's relatively easy. But I demonstrated that ADR script, or pardon me, that ATR script, and I wanted to show you guys how to add that. And additionally, I would look at a couple of things about how to filter or use some of the filtering features that are self-contained here within TradingView to maybe start looking for trade ideas, right? And then apply the technicals that you've already learned from us. Right? So this will make sense here. So let's first thing here. This is a good example here. I wanted to show you this. So you'll recall yesterday that I emphasized that, you know, in the simplest terms, money moves where it's treated best. So thus, interest rate policy is incredibly impactful in foreign exchange, right? And the market is actually, you'll find that it's hypersensitive to any whiff of any sort of interest rate policy. You will see the markets respond dramatically. So this is a very good example. So last night, so here we'll go look at it. All right, so now I'm on Forex Factory. Partly this is my habit. This is where I always go to look. That's just from years of doing this. Now, you can do it within TradingView, but it won't give you the history, right? It's just going to give you the days going forward. So here we can see this last night, the New Zealand dollar, all in red here, right? We had the Royal Bank of New Zealand's monetary policy statement, a press conference, their rate, right? That would be the equivalent of course, of a Fed statement on monetary policy. Those are hugely impactful. And lo and behold, was it due to the market? I think I've got the New Zealand over here. So if I'll bring it down here so you can see this. So here we get I think it was over 100 pip move here. So that's on a daily. Bring it down to an hourly, and it looks more dramatic. So we look at that, and it's like boom. So the point being, knowing that that's coming, right? That you've got that rate those statements coming in the New Zealand dollar. If you were looking, or if you were in a trade in the New Zealand dollar, you got to ask yourself, do you want to carry the trade through that news where you have a high impact news event that's certainly got the potential to move the market, right? So, you know, if you were in this, so Jesus, I mean, these are. It's so obvious in Forex, right? It's amazing, right? So there's 5 down. So maybe you're thinking, oh, I got 5 down. I'm looking for, if I've got a completed 5, Jesus, what's going on? Hang on a sec. There we go. All right, so I got a completed 5. I'm looking for something around the 50, between the 50 and the 618, but you know, yesterday it's down here. So do you want to be sitting with an open order there? Probably not, right? That's not a good idea. So now remember, you've got to put this in the context of where you are in the daily. So here's the daily. Now we look at that and go, huh? Okay, so we had this move, but where am I in the larger count? Is there a larger count here that I can be working with? And remember, you gotta get the whole picture here. So it's very easy to lose track of where you are if you're not checking the daily. Right now, we can just look at, we've had this move down here. We've tapped the 50. There is no reason to think anything other than well, let me rephrase that. We know we have interested parties with the intention of getting the market down here, right? They sold it here. Right? We don't, again, not a mystery what happened there. They sold it here. This is their target. Doesn't mean they must get there. But that is the trend. So we can just look here, right? Series of lower lows, lower highs. So this, if that's technical, you want to look at that. So you got to put it in context, because it's so easy to lose it over here, right? Always got to be, you look here and you're like, oh, that's great. But you got to get in the context of the broader market here, right? So what is this? This ABC sure looks like it. Right. So not to digress into analysis, I just want to show you guys how hypersensitive the market is. Like their algorithm's tied to the words as it's released. They're buying that as fast as they can. You can't compete with that. You don't want to. You don't want to be in there. You don't want to be in there at all. You want to let that settle. Maybe go a day. You don't want to be in there when that kind of a news event is happening. And it's the high impact ones, right? These are the ones, right? Particularly around a rate statement. You know, these are the ones that will move the market. You got to pay attention to that. So if we go back over here, now let's see, let's, oh shit, where do I have it? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so let me go back to, I want to clarify this, right? I was showing you this yesterday on the 60-minute. Now they're gonna be all over the place on a 60-minute, right? It can be a good place to go to start. So if you're looking, I'm looking for something on the 60-minute, but that might be in conjunction with the larger count. Well, keep in mind, to get the broader picture here, you just go to the daily. We can see some trends here, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for extremes. Let me reset that. Okay, so look, I've got so here's the New Zealand dollar to the dollar. So the New Zealand is here. Let me open this up here in this kind of teal color here. It's probably a little too close to the. That's a little too close to the British pound, but tweak it. You can change these colors to whatever you like. So New Zealand's going up, the dollar's going up. So they're both going up today, but you've got this spread here. So if we look at if we took it down to, let's try a 4-hour. Takes a minute for it to load. While that's loading here, let me get this. Yeah, it's loading here. It takes a second. While we're waiting for that, let me just demonstrate this the script while because that could take a minute. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so here's the New Zealand dollar to the dollar. So here's the New Zealand dollar. Here's the U.S. dollar in green. There's the cross. But you can see. Let me see if I can get this here. Look at where we were here. So do you see the extreme here? Here's the New Zealand dollar here, right? And here's the U.S. dollar here. That's right where that happens. Now, that's on the 4-hour. And so if I click this off, you can see, well, oh, okay, well, we had a clear impulsive move down. No wonder they were that far apart. So here's the extreme. I'm assuming you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So there's the dollar. Here's the, let me scrunch a little bit. Here's the New Zealand dollar, right? Look at that. Come here. All right, that's what I want. Okay, look at the extreme here, right? So it's always about reversion to the mean, right? So if they get that far apart, then I want to go look at that wave count, see if I'm at a place where that might make sense for that to start retracing, because we've gotten to an extreme, and you're constantly looking for that. So here comes the dollar now heading down, the New Zealand heading up. So here's where they cross. Do you see this? Make sure you guys can see this. Here, if I do it this way. So here is where they cross, right? That's the news event. Right, there's the cross, right? New Zealand stronger than the dollar. Okay, so now that's not necessarily enough to base your trade on, but that's a place to start looking. All right, so now we'd come over here and go, oh, all right, well, what's happening here? Is there an Elliott count that looks interesting to me? Are we somewhere technical? What's the latest algo play? Where are they? Can I identify what they did last? Are they, every Forex pair, they're in here. Right, here's a 50 to and through target, right? No problem. But again, I can see what they're doing. Here's 5 down. We've gone to the golden zone. Okay, so now this is on my radar. So now I'm looking here going, all right, well, wait a minute. Let's get the context of the broader count. Where are we in the broader count? Is anything unusual happening here? This looks like this looks certainly like 3. That's an impulse down. There's the retracement to the golden zone. Well, maybe there's not a trade there per se, but this is on my radar now. I'm certainly looking. Now, the New Zealand dollar being one of our majors. Where did I have it? Let's see. Hang on. If let's go back here. No, shit. Where did I put it? Well, here, I don't want to digress too far because I'll screw us up here. That's what I was looking for. So here the New Zealand dollar. Right, here's the New Zealand over here. Okay, so I'll always, right, I'm going to have a count on this. So looking at what we've just done, here's the New Zealand to the dollar. So on a daily, looks to me like we're just still working on the 4. And the bias would be lower, not higher. So all we're doing is just completing something here at this degree. So this diagonal, there's no reason to assume that that's going to fail until I see it fail. Right now, there's a count. So I'm looking for short plays here. So maybe as I come back to that, and if I'm over here, I'm looking at this. That's New Zealand. I keep going. That's what I want because I move them around so much. All right. Is this an opportunity to be looking at the short side? Right? Does the wave count support that? Do I want to be looking short? Because if this is corrective, so maybe this is A, B, and we've got the 1 in, and this is just, we're starting the 2. Do I have to go down to the 4 hours? So you're going to have something, I can see that, I can see this. I know it's technical. I know I just had a news event that drove it up to that retracement level. Is this an area I want to be playing? Well, maybe I want to look for something like this. So I've had a test of the golden zone. Maybe I want to catch the next retracement, looking for a move down, because I can be very precise about, you know, my risk reward. So I can do something like that. So if I want to get the retrace here, well, I know where my stop's going to be. Pretty straightforward. Right, so that's the whole idea, but the emphasis I really wanted to stress, you gotta, you absolutely, I don't even want you thinking about a trade or actually clicking to enter a trade until you've been, if it's not here, do it on TradingView, do it somewhere so you know that you're not trading right into a significant event. I would be cautious about, I would look for events throughout the entire week. Are you trading into any significant event? Now, of course, you know, the temptation here is to think, oh, well, that's a problem if I'm on the wrong side of it, but wow, if I'm on the right side of it, that's fuel just to reach your targets. Well, that's true. It's a function of, do you want to carry the trade through that? So maybe you're trading the 4 into the 5 and you hadn't hit your target because what did we bump into here? Right, do you see that, guys? So, so what happened? All that happened here? We went right down to the golden zone. Now, what's up here? So really, we're just stuck between 2 golden zones. You get it, right? So so maybe you were here, and God damn, I'd like to think you guys drew that. I'd like to think that given that we know they love this pattern. All right, we know they love the 50 and the 618 off of that ABC structure. I'd like to think that and even if you're day 1 here, if you just came through from watching videos, that you know to draw that, right? Looking for that. So if you were in this on the 4, come here, and you were looking for a push to break the low here on that 5, so maybe you were looking for more although that looks pretty like the 5 is fairly close to the 1. Whatever reason, if you're down here, you're pushing the short side. Do you want to stay in that short knowing that that news event is coming? Right, that's a question you got to ask yourself. I would tell you to be very cautious with that, because what can happen here, that happens so fast. Like the second that data is released, that thing's already gone, right? So slippage is a problem. There can be a problem there. Now, you don't have to worry about it in the same way that you do in crypto, as your stop's going to get filled. You may have some slippage, but your stop's going to get filled. So that's a problem you have in crypto that you don't have in FX. They're going to fill it because they don't want the liability. They don't want to have to worry about you not being able to pay for a drawdown or something right there. So your stop will get filled, but you may have some significant slippage on the way up, because that thing, if I showed you that on a 2-minute, they react to the news. So would you want to be in a short going right into the golden zone? I'd like to think not. But now, right now, we have something that may be in play. Is there enough there to say, oh, that's an ABC? Maybe not. Maybe not. Is that clean enough, right? You got plenty of choices. So if you're not sure, why? Does that look like a completed correction? Maybe. It certainly went to the level that we were looking for, but you can't really dig in there and go, oh, I got a very clear ABC. Maybe if it comes down, we can get something like this, then it looks better. Back to this, right? So now, if you were looking here, so we know the big news event was the New Zealand dollar last night, right? That's a rate statement, that's very significant. Now, let me get all this off of here. I'm gonna get to where I started, which was adding screens in a second here. Now, look here, as these are moving here, this is not necessarily, if there's a cross that we've had a major trend change, but it's a reason to go start looking. Who's strong? Who's weak? Does that fit in with my current count? Is there an extreme, or do we have a cross that might make me interested? So you can see here the Swiss and the CAD. Let's open this up here. Do you guys see that? All right. So for example, I'm just looking through for my own stuff today. So I see the CAD and the pound, or the CAD and the Swiss have crossed. So I think I had this over here. That was the CAD and the yen. let's see, I had a couple of, the New Zealand CAD is another. Oh yeah, I posted this in the room. Again, I'm digressing here, right? But just look at how good that is, right? So there it is again, right? Remember, they love this pattern, right? They love the algos love that pattern, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be in traditional Elliott context. If I see, just like they love this. Come here. So here's another, right? They love this ABC, right? So this, and let me take this off. I think, if I recall from this. Right here, right to the golden zone, 2, second target. Now, if you're just pulling here, right, look in the golden zone, but now they've broken. Where do they go? 786. Well, immediately I'm thinking I got to go back one. What happens? Because I can see the bigger. Right, I'm digressing here, but I just want you guys to see that these big ABCs. They love that. Do we have it again here? This may be too deep. Very slight break here. Now, there will be a little more slop around the golden zone in FX. You'll see it a little bit more, but there's a decent example where you had that same pattern, but you had a little more kick to it here. But look at this channel. Let's get this off of here. I talk about market geometry. Look at that channel. Right, that it almost again. It's I can't Photoshop this, right? You guys can draw that up yourself. It almost looks like you did. Like, oh come on, man, it can't be that precise. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 contained in that channel. Do you want to buck that channel? Do you want to go against that channel? Well, nothing says that we can't break it. But why? Why would you anticipate that? Wouldn't your anticipation be that this is the pivot at the golden zone at the edge of the channel, and that the anticipation would be more down? Maybe. You got to do a count on it and say, well, where are we in the count? Well, I got an impulse up, some sort of corrections going on. Maybe. But then, of course, remember, there's going to be the all the way. That's going to be up here as well. So maybe there's another kick up here. But again, the idea being, it starts with, well, okay, something happened here, right? High impact. The market responded to it. What's that doing now? Where are there opportunities? If New Zealand is strong, is it going to stay strong? Is it just a temporary news event and then we're drifting back? I want to keep an eye on that here, and I want to look for pairs that are at extremes or are crossing here. All right, let's. It occurred to me that you guys may not know how to add a script. So let me, here's one. Okay, so do I have anything underneath it? Yeah, I have that underneath that. But let me just do this here. So do you guys, I make assumptions here, but I shouldn't. Do you know that if you have a script here, you can create a new one, save one, add to a chart? So the indicator that I mentioned yesterday, the ATR script. Now it's just a text file. It's gonna look just like this. Right? It's just here's the Pine script to get that to be the same. But let me just show you this over here. Hang on a second. So here, this is a good one. I use this one a lot. This is Lazy Bear's wave trend indicator. Now you can just go add to favorites and then it'll automatically put it in. But you can just grab this script here. You just copy and paste it right here. And then you'd put it into a chart right down here. So just like this, which is I'm going to attach underneath this video, is that ATR script. You just grab it, right? Copy it in. So you see version 3 up here. You go right up to that version 3. Copy it, paste it in, and then you're going to get just like I showed you yesterday. Oh shit! Now I got to find it. Right. So I have. So let's see if I can add it here. So this would be my scripts, and that's. Average true range TDU. All right, so whoops, I added it twice. So let me get that one of these off here. All right, so there's the script because I've already done the copy and paste. So we can pull that off. Okay, so now I can see the volatility here. So obviously here in the New Zealand CAD, because of the volatility in the New Zealand dollar, we have a big spike in volatility. So that huge spike like that, when I see the volatility get that high, I want to let that calm down a little bit. I don't want to be necessarily trading at that high volatility. And if I do, I want to be aware of what that daily ATR is. So if I come over here to this day, I look at 64. So it means I need about 130, let's call it 130 pip stop. if I'm going to use double the daily ATR, this move was, I think, 131 pips, right? Pretty close, right? Now the day before, so if you're in that, if you took that the day before, the daily ATR was, let's call it 58. Right, so you just got to be mindful of that, and you're going to have to give that plenty of room if you were looking for a trade there. If you're looking for a trade right now, I wouldn't mind seeing that come down just a little bit. Right, when the volatility is very high, higher probability of you getting stopped up. You want to see that come down a little bit, and that's when you want to look for your entry. All right, so I think, let's see if I go Pine Editor. Yeah, so once you save it, right, I can't add it again because I've already saved it. All right, so that's a good one to use just so you're not trading into high volatility or volatility that's too low. You don't want it to be too low, as the market may just drift, nothing's happening. So you want kind of a happy medium. I use well, I'm going to post the range here underneath this, so that, and let me that'll be a good segue here to this next bit. How am I doing? 21 minutes. Okay, let me go over here. Let's go back to, okay, so you guys have seen this over here, this Forex screener. All right, so we can screen here on the chart, but you can also do it over here. So I'm here on screener. I'm just going to Forex screener. And there's all sorts of ways to look here for new trades. So for example, if I wanted to filter, so I like to use the average true range, right? You know that, right? So if we're going to use the average true range here, so this is a 14-period ATR. I want to make sure that that's below, and I will post these so you don't have to worry about writing it down. I want to use that below 0.0075. Right, so that's a little filter that I'm going to put on. So it tells me that filter is running over here. Do you see this in filters? So I'm looking for volatility that's on the lower side. I don't want it to be too high. Right, high volatility potentially for. I want lower volatility in that. So we can look here and say, okay, for whatever reason, there's the Aussie CAD saying strong sell. Okay, well, let's go look over here. Well, what's happening in the Aussie? The Aussie CAD. CAD here is in this purple, Aussie's in blue. So it looks like here they're going the same direction. Now they're going the same direction. Now they look like they might be about to cross. Oh, so this CAD yen, I thought I had it. Let's just bring it up. Aussie CAD. Okay, so there's the spike in volatility, right? You can see that. Now it's died down. Okay, so let's go. Let's scrunch this back. Okay, so there's a daily. Not giving me a lot. There it is. Okay, so do I want to be? So do I want to be trading here? Well, right off the bat, just before any Elliott anything, right? We're just looking here. It looks to me like we're at some longer term support here. Now I'm going all the way back to 2009. Remember, it's a daily chart. Do I want to be? Is this a strong sell? Do I even want to be trading here? Well, again, just quickie stuff. Just what happened there? Golden zone. Do I want to be selling? Well, you're kind of late to the party there, right? The opportunity was here at the 50 and the 618. Is it too late to sell? Well, maybe I want to go down to the 4 hour and say, okay, well, I certainly can look here and say, is there an algo there? Well, this kind of a wick, you'll see that in FX, right? That's going to be news driven. So you see something like that and you go, well, do I want to include that here, or is this a test of the golden zone? So it's a question mark. So you got to make a judgment call. Do you like it enough? So you basically are going to ignore this wick because it was so quickly rejected. So is this coming down here? Is it good enough to want to be a seller, buyer here? Do I want to trade this? What have I got here? A, B, C? 1, 2, it doesn't look like. So maybe I've got a diagonal, 1, 2, 3, big 4. That symmetry doesn't look great. So maybe you could come to this and you go, fuck, I don't want to push that. There's other things to trade. I got plenty of choices here, right? I want the volatility just right. I don't want it too low. I don't want it too high. Right? I'll give you those parameters that you can use for that search. So right now, I'm using the ATR below, but let's say I want to make sure that it's above. I don't want it to be the market to be dormant. So I want it to be above 0.0075, right? So I'm going to add that filter. Okay, Aussie yen. That's a buy. I got strong sells here. So this, so you go here. Interesting. Huh? What? Okay, now let's go back over here and say, well, is that consistent with what I'm seeing here? And then from there, we take it to the chart and say, well, do I like this? Do I want to trade here? Is there a count that I can see? Is there an algo play? I'm assuming you guys get the idea here. This is where you start looking for ideas. And then ultimately, let's start with the daily, right? Do I have a count that's clear here? What's the algo play? What'd they do last? Can I find the footprint? Right, let's see, that's 25 minutes. So again, you can do this screening right here on the chart, or you can do it here. No shortage of ideas here. All sorts of things you can filter on. Right, you don't have to use ATR. That's what I use. So you can just, there's all sorts of technical things you can, new highs, Bollinger Bands, moving averages. There's all sorts of things to scan for, to be looking for ideas, right? But make sure that if nothing else, before you even check on something, you're like, this looks pretty good. Be sure to, whether on TradingView or over here, you got to look. Do I have anything major coming that can really move the market? Do I want to be in the market through that? Okay, so that'll give you some ideas there. So I think, what did we get there? So we got adding a script, relatively easy to do. We covered the screeners. We covered just kind of looking at the impact of a news event here as the New Zealand dollar rocks off of that report. Now, again, in FX, so this movement is significant, but is it enough to change the broader trend? That's really what you're asking, right? Is it significant? Well, until it breaks that high, I would tell you all you've done is retraced an impulse. So do you want to be trading there, right? Is that big spike up there have you thinking, oh, I want to be long now? Because at this point, now I'm anticipating that rates are going to stay friendly, right? So again, New Zealand dollars will be treated well relative to the dollar. Do I want to be long New Zealand here on the anticipation that this golden zone is going to drive us up to this target? All right, and then where would that fit in? Oh, you guys know, right? You've seen me do this 100 times. Where would that fit in relative to that play, right? So here's the algo target right at the 50. Right, that's how you go through and start looking for trades. Right, and then do I have anything coming? Right, I have U.S. events right on Thursday and Friday. Well, no, just on Thursday. So we have high impact events on the dollar on Thursday. Right, that's tomorrow. Right, we've got, well, CPI, we're already through that today. Those events are tomorrow morning. Do I want to be in this trade going into that event tomorrow? Right, or do you want to maybe let it, it depends. Where, if it's a fresh trade, maybe you let that pass and see how the market responds. All right, guys, that should give you enough to chew on. I'll be back to you in a bit.